So good morning and Hare Krishna and welcome Amrita Kishori Devi Dasi, Alan Ginsberg and Amish. Hare Krishna and good morning Dana and Dominica, Isabel and Jamuna Jaya Devi Dasi, Kartik and Krishna Daya Das Prabhu. Well, very glad that you're here now. Pink Yogi and Popi. We have Hare Krishna and welcome Rich and Suzanne. We have Anisha and William and family and Yogeshwari. So yes, as Ananda Vihari just wrote in the chat, we are with Stir in our Teeth humbly requesting you participate actively in class today because Krishna has unexpectedly decided to have me lead because our speaker that was going to come in today is very ill and is unable to speak. So I will be trying my best to lead us in a very interactive class today. So appreciate your support. And then Nanda Bihari is asking if you could please back me up and drop a flower if yes. So he's so sweet. But we want Ananda Bihari not to be concerned and let him relax and do his retreat and do his japa. So I'm sure we will be on it. So not prepared at all, dear devotees, but I'm going to start with some very simple prayers. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Shakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto them. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prashadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatata Satarine. Just offering my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. It's very dear to Lord Krishna, for He has taken shelter of His lotus feet. And we hope that we can also take shelter of His lotus feet and take shelter of all the devotees here, as well as anybody that is online. So I will be sharing the screen so that we can read the verse together, because it will be a surprise to me, dear devotees, as much as it will be a surprise to some of you as well. So today we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 25, and we're doing verses 6 and 7. So, Esham Shriva Valiptanam Krishnenad Ma Pitat Manam Dunata Srimadastambam Pashunayata Sankasham. I think that's it. We'll do what we can with that. Okay, so we'll do word for word. Esham, of them, Shriya, by their opulences, Avaliptanam, who are intoxicated, Krishnena, by Krishna, Ad Ma Pita, fortified, Atmanam, whose hearts, Dunata, remove, Shri, based on their wealth, Mada, being maddened, Stambam, their false pride, Pashun, their animals, Nayata, bring, Sunk Shayam, to destruction. To the clouds of destruction, King Indra said, the prosperity of these people has made them, close this for now so that we can see. The prosperity of these people has made them mad with pride, and their arrogance is backed up by Krishna. Now go and remove their pride and bring their animals to destruction. Purport. It is clear from this verse that the residents of Vrindavan had become highly prosperous simply by protecting cows, since Indra wanted to destroy their so-called pride based on wealth by killing their animals. Well-tended cows produce large quantities of milk, from which come cheese, butter, yogurt, ghee, and so on. These foods are delicious by themselves and also enhance other foods, such as fruits, vegetables, and grains. Bread and vegetables are delicious with butter, and fruit is especially appetizing when mixed with cream or yogurt. Dairy products are always desirable in civilized society and the surplus can be traded for many valuable commodities. Thus, simply by a Vedic dairy enterprise, the residents of Vrindavana were wealthy, healthy, and happy, even in the material sense, and most of all, they were eternal associates of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Next verse, 1025.7. Aham chairavatam nagam aruhyanu vraje vrajam marudganair mahaveger nanda goshta jikam saya. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me easy verses. Thank you so much. Aham, I, cha, also, Airavatam, named Airavata, Nagam, my elephant, Arugya, riding, Anu Vraje, will follow along, Vrajam, to Vraja, Marut, Ganaihi, accompanied by the wind gods, Maha Vegaihi, who move with great power, Nanda Goshta, the cowherd community of Nanda Maharaj, Yik Gam Saya, with the intent of destroying. I will follow you to Vraja, riding on my elephant, Airavata, and taking with me the swift and powerful wind gods to decimate the cowherd village of Nanda Maharaj. The Samvartaka clouds were frightened by Indra's powerful mood and thus carried out his order as described in the following verse. But we are left in suspense, my dear devotees, because actually we're reading up to verse 7. So, that was verse 7. So then we are left in suspense to be continued until tomorrow when we will hear from the next speaker what happens next. I mean, a lot of us do know this pastime, but it's still, I think, exciting and sweet to kind of have that anticipation and be like little children, like, oh no, we don't know what's going to happen next. So that's always lovely. Okay, so let's just, there we go. And I guess, there we go. Okay, I was still not spotlighted. So now hopefully everybody can see me. So my dear devotees, I think today, since I'm totally unprepared, but remember this is interactive, I just wanted to share, because my forte, as many of you know, is giving classes for children. And I do like a virtual Sunday school for children once a month. And whenever we do the story of Govardhan, one of the favorite songs that the kids love for us to sing is the song of I'm a Little Krishna. So I just love to sing that song for you, because I have heard from some of my dear spiritual teachers like Rukmini Walker Prabhu that one of the best ways that we can honor Krishna is for us to have that wonder like children, right? To just kind of be in that perpetual state of wonder and kind of have that childlike love of Krishna and just be always excited to hear about Krishna's pastimes. And sometimes I think that as we grow up and as we become adults, we forget how to just listen to those pastimes with our hearts open and that wonderment. So I just want to sing this song for you, and I invite you to sing along if you can at home. Sing it twice so you can hear the verses and just kind of be in that state of wonderment of this pastime. So it goes, I'm a little Krishna, blackish blue. Here is my cow and here is my flute. When Indra makes it rain, I know what to do. I lift Govardhan and shelter you. So I know some of you may be in your pajamas or you may be getting breakfast going, but I invite you to join me and be in that state of wonderment of how wonderful is Krishna, as our dear Adi Purusha Prabhu always says, and just kind of take in the wonder of the pastime through the song. So again, I'm a little Krishna, blackish blue. Here is my cow and here is my flute. When Indra makes it rain, I know what to do. I lift Govardhan shelter you. And at that point, I always ask the children, do you want to take shelter of Krishna? Come, let's all take shelter of Krishna. So please write down in the chat, or you can, unmute yourself and say, do you want to take shelter of Krishna? Because I know I want to take shelter of Krishna. And as so many speakers in the previous classes, and thank you, Krishna Daya Das Prabhu, for a very nice poem. It was not the one to write it. It's something that I inherited as a Sunday school teacher in the Bhakti Center. Yay! Jamuna Jaya says she wants to take shelter of Krishna. Haribo. Great. I'm so glad that somebody else wants to take shelter of Krishna along with me. Poppy as well. Great. Beautiful. Because that's the mood that we want to have, right? Like when I take this pastime and teach it to the students, to the children in Sunday school, after I've done the song, yay, Haribo, William. I always say, do you want to take shelter of Krishna? And usually when I'm doing the class, I'll have like a little umbrella that I've covered with a green cloth to make Govardhan Hill, and then we're holding it. And the children rush to want to take shelter of Govardhan Hill and want to rush to take shelter of Krishna. So how wonderful is it if we can feel that excitement of wanting to take shelter of Krishna? It just, it makes me so excited to kind of be with their excitement. And the other thing in the verses that we read today, just to go back to that, is that I feel sorry for Indra. I know that he's doing this pastime, to kind of give us that chance to learn from his mistakes. But I feel so bad for Indra, because since he's having to kind of be covered up, in that way and be making these mistakes on our behalf, he doesn't get to have that excitement of taking shelter of Krishna during the Govardhan pastime. And instead he has to be in this state of anger of like having having his the wind and the clouds that he's called to come and try to decimate these beautiful, beautiful devotees of the Lord who just want to take care of cows and just want to take shelter of Krishna and be with him. It just I feel so much compassion for Indra in this moment now, all of a sudden, like, wow, that must be so difficult. So, and not to give so much away, and obviously we know at the end that there's a change of heart and he's able to kind of ask Krishna to forgive him. But at the same time, we know that he doesn't get to stand underneath the Govardhan Hill for those 7 days and 7 nights and have those beautiful pastimes with Krishna. And just imagining being able to do that makes me so happy and so sweet. So another thing that I read in the purport that I thought would be important for us to speak about is the importance of taking care of cows and how important that is, because it's so dear to Krishna. And, I hate for us to start Sunday morning with something so sad, but it always saddens me to think of the state of cows right now in Kali Yuga in our world, where so many cows are, bred by people seeing them as just commodities, as animals to be killed just for their flesh. And also in the dairy industry, in current Kali Yuga, it's not as idyllic as it was back in Krishna's time, where the cows were taken care of until the very last moment of their life. They were like family. They gave milk because it was from a place of love. They gave even excess milk. It's not like that now. Now the dairy industry, dairy industry, if it can be called that, it's horrible. As many of us know, the cows, they're just forcefully bred. I'm try to keep it so that it's not too traumatizing for everyone, but it's good to be aware that it's traumatizing for the cows. They're forced to become pregnant. Their children, their little baby cows, are taken away from them so that the milk can be just taken away to be given to humans and others to drink. And then their babies are either if they're female, they're kept so that they can be forcefully bred to continue making more milk, or the boys are, put in veal farms. They're just put in like tiny containers, to again, just seen as commodities for their flesh. So this is the state of Kali Yuga, of how people see cows, and I put cows in quotation marks because I don't think they're really seeing them as cows. They're seeing them, just as we know, as just commodities, as flesh and as makers of milk, as opposed to living beings, beloved beings of Krishna who have so much love in their hearts. I know I have a friend who does a lot of seva with cows, and she was telling me that when you have a lot of sadness and pain in your heart, and if you go near a cow, the cow would cry for you, and they take that emotion, and then if you can hug and be with the cow, they heal you, because of they're just so loving. They're just so full of love. And it just and again, this isn't a commercial for veganism or anything of that sort. We all have to make our choices. It's just good for us to be aware that that ideal of happening in this pastime with Krishna and his devotees is not always happening here. There are some pockets of it. There's a pocket of it in New Vrindavan where Ananta Bihari Prabhu is, right? So those cows are loved so well. I've been at New Vrindavan, and those are some beautiful, beloved cows. And there are devotees around the world who take care of cows so beautifully, like just love on them and their family members. I happen to be very blessed and live in Alachua, where there's a very large devotee community. And I know a family, like I personally know a family who they have 5 acres of land, and they wanted to have that 5 acres of land just so that they could serve cows, so they could have cows and serve them. And those cows are loved, my friends. They are so loved. And they have babies, but they have an excess of milk because they're full of love. Like they can't stop producing milk because they're so full of love. So ahimsa milk is different. Yes, and I do believe that temples would be great if the temples could either have only ahimsa milk or if they can go towards vegan. But again, that's my opinion, and that's not really what's relevant for Srimad Bhagavatam class. What's more relevant is that it's so important for us to support devotees who are taking care of cows and who are doing that seva, because as Srila Prabhupada said, it's so important to take care of cows. Yes, liquid love. And I actually heard a pastime from a devotee. I forget exactly when, but if anybody's heard this before, that there was a cow who had never actually given birth. So this cow was like, I guess, a virgin cow, you could call her. But she was so loved by the devotees that she would give milk. And she would give milk regularly every day because of the love that she was given by the devotees. So it is possible. We've actually even seen it in humans, right? There's been cases of women who, just from love alone, they did not give birth to their child, but they adopted a child. And from the love that they felt for the child, they would start being able to breastfeed their child. So I think coming back to it in full circle, it's that power of love, right? Like Krishna wants us to experience that love. And that's what is most important. And as Adi Purusha Prabhu has said before, that if we can do things from that space of love, then people will be able to accept it because they know that we love them. So that's really important. So those are my thoughts on that. I just wanted to speak on the pastime and share that song with all of you. I wanted to speak on and Alan, I agree. Alan Ginsberg wrote in the chat that so ideally devotees should only drink milk from farms that don't engage in the business of selling cows for slaughter. I do think that, Alan. I do think that ideally it would be great for devotees to know that they're drinking milk from cows that are going to continue to live their natural life and until they end. that's ideal. But again, as we had Daya Gauranga Prabhu come and give a class one day, and he said, there's the ideal, and then there's like the levels that we have to get to it, right? So we have to be ready to be where we are. We can exercise our bhakti muscles a little bit every day. And the point is not for us to tell other people like what they should or should not do. It's just more of thinking of it from that space of love, right? Like, do you love cows? Do you love these living beings who are just full of love? And how, in your part, like, what's the small part that you can do to take care of them, right? So if you're not ready to do that, of like only making sure that you can get milk from like ahimsa milk, then maybe you can support devotees, communities, farm communities that are trying to do that. And you can support communities that are trying to take care of cows and have ahimsa milk be a thing. So that's some thoughts on that. But I think the overall themes that I would love for us to discuss today is the idea of taking shelter of Krishna and how we can have that wonder and that joy as children in taking shelter of Krishna. Like, how can we do that every day? The idea of cows, and what are some practical ways that each one of us on this call can take care of cows and honor cows and love cows in some way. And the third theme is love. And how do you feel Krishna's love in your life every day? So those are some questions and some thoughts that I put out to all of you today. Again, this is an impromptu class. This is an interactive class. So we're asking for the devotees to please interact. So feel free to either raise your virtual hand or unmute yourself if you would like to speak on one of those themes. I'll also write them in the chat. So we'll see. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions on those themes? Taking shelter of Krishna. How do you take shelter of Krishna? How do you do your part in taking care of cows? And how do you feel Krishna's love in your life every day? Okay, so dear devotees, does anybody want to start? Yes, Krishna Daya. Das Prabhu, please go ahead and unmute.
Haribol, thank you so much, Prabhu, for such a sweet class. I wish, we all become children and then participate in your school. We can learn much more. But it's such a wonderful way of engaging. Everybody is a child, but thank you for engaging us in the Krishna's pastime. We entered practically. We wish to be under that umbrella. Thank you so much. And 2 points. Like one is taking shelter of Krishna. It's like Indra, of course. He's showing an example. I mean, like how not to be. And sometimes we also become small Indras. One of the speakers was telling. So, and in that verse, when you are reading, so the word came dhunoti. Generally, we use that word to cleanse, like of anarthas. And Indra is also using the same word he's thinking that he's cleansing the Vrindavan, removing the people, removing Krishna from lives of people. That is so unfortunate. So when we become small Indras also, so we try to do the same. So we need to be so careful, and at least attending the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will try how not to be those mini Indras. Thank you so much. And regarding this cows, Prabhu, it is really a very sensitive thing. It's not only here, in many places, the place where this Vedic culture is originated. So there also the things are going heavy. But the one thing, at least practically, we can support, as you said, support the devotees who are maintaining the cow farms by producing their milk, and also whenever there are commercial festivals. So so we can tap those milk products and then everything, so that they will also be financially supported. And we were visiting New Mayapur in France, and the same case story, what you said, that one cow, she doesn't have a baby, but still
Mm.
produces milk. We
Wow.
it's in New Mayapur.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So you actually got to see where one of these
Yeah,
cows
yeah,
are.
yeah.
That's so great. Thank you so much for sharing, Krishna
Little
Daya.
milk, she gives very little milk, but that's only for the
But
lords. That's
still,
what and then
yeah.
yeah, in especially even in Bharat, those there are a lot of devotees. I mean, people, not only just devotees. There are some well-wishing people who try to take care of goshalas, and
Mm.
since we earn in dollars, so sometimes we can give in charity to sustain those goshalas. So in that
Yes.
way, Krishna
Yes.
will be happy. These are
Yes.
some of the.
And Goshala, can you explain what Goshala means just
Oh,
for
sorry.
anybody?
Yeah. So Goshala is the place where cows are taken care nicely, and then they're fed very lovingly, and then they're taken care for their life throughout their life. So those are
That's
like
beautiful.
cow
That's
protection shelters, and then that milk is like used for all the holy things, and then as well
mm,
as they will send it commercial. So they don't use this machines to extract the milk. They most of them they use the hand
mm,
natural maize. So in that
wow.
way, so yeah, devotees, especially in the West, so we earn a lot. I mean, in dollars. So whatever we transfer to the other countries, so it will be reflecting a huge. So that also people may consider. These
That's
are
a good point. Yes. So what you're saying is that, dollars when translated into the money of other countries
yeah,
it multiplies a lot. So if we
yeah,
can make sure that the money that we're sending is going towards actual cow protection,
yeah.
that's really important. Thank
That
you.
can actually make America again great.
Mm, yeah, that can make a big difference. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you so much, Krishna
Thank
Daya.
you.
Wow, Prabhu, you're so great. That's excellent. And do you have anything else you want to share? Oh no, you already muted yourself. Okay. Well, I see that Jamuna Jaya Prabhu has her hand up. So Jamuna Jaya, hi Krishna, my friend.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much for just all your service all the time, and for jumping in today and singing in Sanskrit. And just thank you so much, Andrea. And no wonder you do the work with children. You are like, we never want to be childish, we want to be childlike, and you exude that, and for years have done that. So thank you for your service so much. And the song just made me just smiling. I'm, as usual, I'm getting ready for yoga class, so I can't have my cameras on and stuff like that
Yeah.
all the time. But just know I was doing the little motions with you. And there's two things I wanted to say, and one is like, to your question about how do we keep that wonder, and Hermangi said something like that in the chat. I see it is that keeping our eyes open. One of the verses from the Bhagavad Gita that I say pretty much every morning, it's 11:40. It says, obeisances to the front, to the side, to all sides. O unbounded power, O master of unlimited might, you are all pervading, and thus you are everything. And it's that seeing with true vision, to open up our eyes and see Krishna everywhere. And that's when you see the wonder. And it is getting back to, because I, as you, spend an awful lot of my time around children. We see with their eyes. It's the first thing. It's the wonder of a piece of fruit. It's a wonder of a flower. It's it's not taking anything for granted. And to know that, like that old thing, if you like the art, where do you see the artist? Right?
Yes.
To know that this, this unbounded power, oh master of unlimited might, like that Krishna's grace is in everything. And that's how I think it is one of the ways I do it. You just see it everywhere, and you put on those glasses and see that tree, that mountain, even that technology. Krishna tells us, I am the intelligence in man, I'm the ability in man, that there's something behind it. And in that way, we can see Krishna showing up in our lives and seeing it there all the time. Probably the only writer who's not, a Vedic writer that I love is the writer Anne Lamott. And she has a skinny book. It's called Help, Thanks, Wow. And I talk about it all the time. And she says those are the three essential prayers. If you're only going to pray 3 times in your life, you're going to say help, thanks, and wow. And I love the chapter on wow, because it is seeing, it is seeing the beyond. She talks about poetry as being the official language of wow. That poetry expresses things that you can't. So I was, when you're asking your question, that's what I was thinking about. And there was just one other funny thing, because as yeah, I spend a lot of time with children, as do you, and in one of my associates, my clown partners that I work with a lot in the hospital, we all have funny doctors' names, and her name is Dr. Moo Cha-Cha.
Oh.
And, and her costume has like bits of like cow print on it. And one of the employees at the hospital where we perform, she said, "So what's the deal with the cows? Why did you name yourself that?" And my partner gave this beautiful dissertation about all the things that we talk about cows. Well, there's something special about them, and they give so much in the eyes, and they look at you, and I just feel so good. So she says, "I want to bring that kind of energy to the children when I clown." And I was so moved by that. So I thought, even in some small way, Dr. Moo Cha-Cha is helping children to understand the beauty and the love of the cow.
I feel like Dr. Moo Cha-Cha would benefit from going to New Vrindavan or somewhere like that, and being able to have darshan of those beautiful cows.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
When she was talking, I pulled up my photos of some cows in India, and we were looking through. So.
Oh my goodness.
So,
wow,
yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jamuna Jaya Prabhu. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Again, always for your just steadfast service. Thank you, Andrea.
And just following the example of Nanda Bihari Prabhu and all the other devotees in our little Bhakti Center Srimad Bhagavatam class family that are always here, always here. Before I thought William had his hand up, but I wanted to read, since you mentioned also Jamuna Jaya, that Hamangi wrote in the chat. I just want to read what she wrote, because it says, Hare Krishna, I feel Krishna's love by the love and care that people show for me and my family and all the wonderful things that happen in our lives every day. I feel so much gratitude for the Lord. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Hamangi Prabhu, for sharing that. That's amazing. So again, does anybody have anything that they want to share? Some of the questions that I put out there are, how do you feel Krishna's love in your life every day? How do you take care of cows, or how can you take care of cows in your life? So if you feel like you're not taking care of cows, how can you? What are some practical ways that you can do that? And how do you take shelter of Krishna? Oh, and I see William is back. Hare Krishna, William, do you want to share?
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for this beautiful, sweet class. Hare Krishna. I feel Krishna's love also by the love and care that the devotees show for me and my family. It's amazing. It's wonderful. And one of the things that Jamuna Jaya was sharing about, and you as well, about how special children are. I have 2 children that I'm raising on my own. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure. And a lot of times I see Krishna through them. I'm going to give you an example, and this is an embarrassing example. I was taking my daughter to school, and I have this thing where, bicyclists on the sidewalk, joggers on the sidewalk, motorists on the sidewalk, just really, I'm asking Krishna, please give me patience, help me to understand. And then this woman comes heading toward us with an iPhone, and she's not looking where she's going. And I'm thinking in my mind, she's pretending she's not, she doesn't know where she's going, but she just wants us to get out of her way. So I just made a big sound like moo, like, oh, and then she got scared and said, you see, Francesca, you see? And then Francesca says to me, Papa, why would you do that? Why are you such a hypocrite? I see you on the phone, and you don't like, would you like if someone did that to you? And I was like, oh, Krishna. Oh, Krishna.
Wow.
I said,
From
honey,
the mouth of babes.
Oh my God. I was like, wow, Krishna. I said, okay, love, I see what you're saying. I apologize. I'll be better. And I'm thinking I'm talking to Krishna right through her. So just wanted to give that example.
That's
anyway.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, William, for sharing that. I really hear that you listen to, and I believe it's Adi Purusha Prabhu who has been sharing recently about how, if we really love Krishna, we're willing to hear advice from anywhere. And you were willing to see Krishna in your daughter and hear Krishna through her and see that he was lovingly giving you that advice of being careful about, as you said, like being a hypocrite. And a lot of us have that, right? Where we're trying to do one thing, and then when we're in the moment, in that moment of fire where something's actually happened, then sometimes we fall back into our old habits and kind of like aren't as compassionate or as kind as we can be. But that's great that you were at least open to getting that feedback from your daughter so immediately and being able to work on that. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing how you have Krishna manifesting in your life. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Haribo. And Venetia, you have your hand raised. Did you want to share something, please?
Yeah, I also just wanted to say thank you so much, and just how brave you are for jumping in and doing this class. I was thinking if I was in your position, how scared I would be to just go jump into verses. Yeah. And so I just want to say,
I'm just maybe not showing it, but yeah.
Yeah, good for you. And I'm so proud of you for being so brave. So two things. One, just I also wanted to say, not on the themes of the questions, although I want to get to cows, I was really struck by how such a good example of how when we criticize others, like William was just saying, when we criticize others, it's so often the things that we ourselves are doing wrong. And that Indra, is thinking that he has to correct the pride of the residents of Vrindavan, when really it's his pride that needs to be corrected. And it's just such a good lesson that so many times when we criticize others, if we just take a moment and catch ourselves and think about, what is it in myself that I'm doing that I'm criticizing others? It's 9 times out of 10 the exact thing that you're not doing right. So just thought that was a great lesson. And then in terms of cows, I'm really excited. During COVID, my husband and I, we live right across the street from the Bhakti Center, which is such a blessing in the East Village. But during COVID, we got out of the city and we ended up getting a farm in rural New Jersey. And we have about 50 acres. Wow. In a super rural part of New Jersey, like right on the Pennsylvania border. And our ambition is we want to take care of cows. And we're going to go to Gitanagiri in Pennsylvania, which, in addition to New Vrindavan, as many know, is also
Thank you for mentioning that. I totally forgot about Gitanagiri.
Yeah, which is closer to us here in New York, and going to learn about cow protection and how to do it. And I'm so excited, like you, just jumping in, having no idea. So I'm inspired by your bravery and thinking about, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to take on the cow protection.
Oh my goodness.
So
that's so amazing.
Yeah. And I look forward to inviting folks out from the Bhakti Center and elsewhere once we're up and running to come and feel the love.
Oh, that would be amazing. What a gift. Thank you so much, Venetia Prabhu, for sharing that. And for, again, like kind of going
all
full
gifts
circle.
From Krishna.
Yeah. Because you said you were not going into the questions, but you actually did answer the question, because one of the questions is, how do you take care of cows, but also how do you feel Krishna's love in your life every day? And that's how you did it. You feel Krishna's love because Krishna is, you have the Bhakti Center across the street from you when you're in the city, but then also the fact that you got away, during the pandemic, and you still thought like, oh, wow, how can I use this opportunity to serve Krishna and serve his devotees, especially the cows? That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo. Is there anybody else that would like to share? I'm sorry, we still have time. Adi Purusha Prabhu, is there anybody, yourself or anybody in the temple, that would like to share?
Hare Krishna, delightful class, very sweet. And we find, since when you open it up to be interactive, that it's not just a monologue and everybody is reduced to wallpaper, that everybody has Krishna's working through everyone, inspiring everyone, giving everyone intelligence. And it's so delightful to hear everyone's voice and we're here to glorify Krishna together. And two of the themes you talked about, one was taking shelter of Krishna. And I remember when I first heard this story of Govardhan Hill, and I was very new, and I was like, wait a minute. He lifted up a mountain and said, hey, come on under here and we'll take shelter. Everything. Whoa, I'm going under a mountain? That doesn't seem like such a good idea. See, they had such faith in Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
And he beckoned them, come on, come on. And it was really interesting that we might sometimes, although Krishna's beckoning us to take shelter in many different ways, that it's scary,
Mm-hmm.
to give up our other sources of shelter, which are fallible, soldiers, ridiculous, insufficient, and even like insane. But it's true. It's appropriate for us to take shelter of Krishna, and Krishna is calling us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so wonderful that he is capable. He is capable of we see people making that jump from working for an ordinary employer to actually full devotional service. In the Buddhist tradition, they talk about how first you know what's right. Then that's a whole step just to knowing what's right. Then you have to want it. You have to want it. That's called right aspiration. And then the third step is right speech, where you're not just thinking about it, you're talking about it. And then comes right behavior, where you start to do a little service. You start to take part in sadhana. You go to the temple and worship and hear from scripture. And, there's some right behavior. And then the next step is called right livelihood, where it actually becomes your occupation.
Mm.
To do 40 hours a week or 8 hours, whatever. Taking on cows, oh my goodness, I worked at Nirvandavan for many years, taking care of cows and working with the oxen. And you don't have a day off. You don't want a day off. Just even if you have a parakeet, you can't take a day, like you have your dogs there. You can't take a day off from feeding them, and there's a loving exchange that comes from that. When you have to take care of cows, a cow is a little bigger than a parakeet, and
Just a little.
There's no such thing as having a cow. You can't have a cow. A cow, in most cases, to give milk, a cow will have a calf. In order to have a calf, there has to be a bull, and then you have a cow and a bull and a calf, right? And then if you're actually, the cow is providing milk about 10 months after the calf is born. So then if there's going to be 12 months of milk, then there's another cow. So cows come in herds, and it's very expansive. And then you need land for the cows to graze on and to raise the, so wonderful how it goes hand in hand. And you're actually growing hay, corn, and feeding the cows and taking care of Mother Earth. And Krishna has provided this incredible economic system. The sun is shining every day for millions of years. The earth is there. The rains are coming. The plants are growing, and the cows are there producing milk. And it's just so natural and complete. Prabhupada pointed to it because in the 1940s, about 80% of the people in this country had a piece of land and grew a lot of their own food. And now it's down to less than 1%. Just a few decades, we've gone from 80% to practically nothing. There's big agribusinesses. Hardly anybody who lives close to the land and understands the value. Prabhupada said, what good is this paper money? Real wealth is cows, land, the knowledge of how to care for the earth and take care of the cows and grains. This is wealth. The other form of paper money in the bank is just, it could be gone tomorrow. And we see people's savings getting eaten up by the inflation and everything being reduced by 15%, 20%, 30%, just disappearing there's no possibility of holding on to it. Anyway, this is a way of taking shelter of Krishna. And of course, some people, Krishna calls to the cities to reach out to people there. But the Prabhupada always liked to have the city temple connected to a farm. And I'm sure Mataji's new farm will develop a strong connection to the Bhakti Center and the devotees here.
Yeah.
We'd like to talk to her about that. Oh, Gauri Srila Prabhupada, sorry to talk so much.
Hare Krishna, no, it's okay, Hare Krishna Prabhu. And do you know if we're going to be able to have darshan today, or do you have to
yes,
leave early?
Yesterday there was Radha early they were taking rest.
Yes,
Because
they
the
were
devotees
having a
had
siesta.
Tense program the night before, so virtually they weren't ready. But today, I see these pajoras running and scampering and dancing back.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on your screen. So if we see you moving us towards the curtain, then we'll know that it's time for darshan. Thank you so much.
Late, I have to move the vehicle, so I have to leave. But I hope they're going to open.
Oh, okay. Well, if not,
Looks
it's
like
okay.
They're almost ready. Looks like they're almost ready.
Thank you. So another thought that came into mind, in the chat, is from Poppy. Is it natural to feel guilty for seeking shelter of Krishna only at times of crisis? I found myself surrendering to Krishna when my family failed, but then I feel guilty, feels as if Krishna is looking at me and saying, oh, now you remember me? It might be the critical voice in me or something. Thank you so much for, first off, sharing and being so vulnerable and sharing that. And I hope it's okay that I read it out loud. I apologize. Well, you wrote it in the public chat, so I figured that's okay. But yes, thank you again for asking that. I think a lot of us have gone through that where, and let me just spotlight the curtain in case we do get darshan of the deities. So I think a lot of us have felt guilty sometimes when we feel like that we're only asking Krishna for help because we need it. But at the same time, we're kind of like babies in our bhakti and in our Krishna consciousness, are we not? So, when babies don't feel guilty when they cry for their mothers or their fathers because they need help, right? That's what babies do. And as they grow up, then babies can be more conscious of that and can turn to Krishna for different reasons and in different ways and be more aware of it. But right now it's okay, in my opinion, and if anybody else wants to share, we can always share after the afterglow, after we get darshan of the deities, is that if you're in a baby stage of bhakti where what you need is to just call out to Krishna when you're in a state of crisis, like that baby, like, help, I need you, Krishna, then that's okay. So, and I see that we are getting 2 darshans. Okay. So I'm not sure which darshan we're supposed to be focusing on. So I'm just going to do gallery view, and then we'll see which one, whichever one we see the deity show up, then I'll focus on that one.
No, just focus it on the phone, no problem.
On the
case
phone?
Prabhu leaves, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you so much for the backup. So, I hopefully that helps, Poppy, if you want to unmute yourself while we wait for the deities to show up, or you can write more in the chat.
There you are. Thank you so much for answering it, and you did it very perfectly. And I think that's what it is. I feel, there were words in me, it's like, I make mistakes and I can always go back to my mom and she will accept me. And it's the same with Krishna. But, there was something, and you're right, I'm in my baby stage of Krishna consciousness, and the guilt does come sometimes. So thank you for answering it. And I feel like, Krishna did put me, when it came to Krishna love, I feel like Krishna did put me in hard times, just so that I can get more taste of Krishna's love.
Yes.
So that's one thing I learned in my everyday is it hurts, but I feel like Krishna did it. I think the other day somebody was saying Krishna is a trickster. He tricks on us. So that's what I felt. And, that's how I get glimpse of his love, is through my painful moments.
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Poppy. And it looks like we are actually, I think they're about to blow the conch. So I'm going to spotlight that, and we can continue this conversation afterwards. Okay, dear devotees, we're going to get to see our dear Radha Mulidhar, Gaurachandra. So if you feel so inclined, you can turn on your videos. So we can have darshan of the devotees as well as darshan of the deities.
Yeah, I can play.
Jai Radha Mulitar Chandra. Hare Krishna.
Bhagavatam tam Ashitam.
We still have darshan, everyone, because of our beautiful devotees at the Bhakti Center. Wow. I don't know about all of you, but I'm so filled with love for the time and attention, both of Adi Purusha Prabhu giving us darshan before this and singing for us so that we can hear the Govinda prayers. And then now the pujaris who have so much to do, yet they're taking the time to give us darshan of the deities in such a close and intimate way. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this even if we were at the temple to get this close to the deities. So I just think it's so moving that, William shared about how he heard Krishna through his daughter, and now we can see Krishna's love through the devotees at the Bhakti Center, who think of all us little jivas who are on the Zoom call who want to see the deity so badly, and they're giving us this darshan. So thank you so much to them for that. Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. So thank you so much to everyone for your support and encouragement in us doing this beautiful little interactive Bhakti Center Srimad Bhagavatam class. It just goes to show that we're a family and we're here to glorify Krishna together. And so thank you, anyone. If anybody else has any last minute questions or shares that you want to do before we disconnect for today, and then we'll be together again tomorrow. But again, thank you, Poppy, for that question at the end. And just remember that we're all in different stages of our bhakti. So some of us are very much in that baby stage. And what I love that you shared, Poppy, about how you remember that you can still go back to your mother, is that just like your mother has unconditional love for you, Krishna has unconditional love for us 500 bajillion times the amount that our mothers have for us. So if we could even try to understand that, it would blow our minds and probably hurt our hearts to feel it, that amount of love that Krishna has for us. So thank you, everyone. I don't see anybody having their hands up. So thank you, Adi Purusha Prabhu. Thank you, Suzanne and Hamangi. Thank you, William and family, and Popi and Amish and Venetia. Bhima Prabhu was hoping to get some darshan of you, but I understand he's busy taking care of his horses and his beloveds. Rich Yogeshwari, Amrita Kishori Devi Dasi, my fellow co-host as always, Kartik, Pink Yogi, and our dear Ananda Bihari Prabhu, who's at the retreat. So thank you, everyone. We love you all, and we hope to see you again tomorrow so that we can glorify Krishna together. Hare Krishna. Oh, he's showing us. Hare Krishna. Oh my goodness. Is that Braja Leela? Hare Krishna. We're getting darshan of Braja Leela. Bye. Thank you.
Haribol. Hare Krishna. Hari Hari.
We
So
love
grateful
you.
to be able to see you, not hear you, see you. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Oh, thank you, Ananda Hari Prabhu.
Darshan of Rajalila.
Yes, that's
Kabira is
amazing.
here. He gave me a big hug.
Oh,
I took that hug on behalf of everyone.
thank you. Thank you. We miss you and we look forward to you leading us again. Okay.
Yeah, I miss you guys. I'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see you then. Okay, Haribol.